Hello everyone, my name is Charles, and today's video is going to be absolutely a banger. Not to hype, not to do my own horn. And you'll see why in a moment. Yeah, so today's video is going to be, part of a series, and it's basically going to be Schizo reacts to, and in this case, it's a well-known anime, Serial Experiments Lain. Now, this was a wise lady who's most dear to me expressed this request, and I think it's a genius idea. Give me 20 seconds. I'm going to preface just two disclaimers real quick. One, I want to be clear. I was 18 when I was diagnosed. I'm medicated, able to be in college, sufficient, be in public, healthy, happy, good. No issues. There is hope. But I was 18 when I was diagnosed, and it was schizo-affective, not necessarily schizophrenia. There's a slight difference, mostly the same. And then second, if anything I watch today, makes you feel uncomfortable, and you're like, ugh, gives you the heebie-jeebies, or, it's not your appetite, and you don't want to be scared, or whatever, and it seems scary, totally no problem. Care about your well-being more. Click off the video and go watch something nicer, sweeter, or like cute puppies, and that's enjoyable. But without further ado, let's get started. We're going to react to 3 videos from Serial Experiments Lain. These are scenes that showcase and highlight, what people think schizophrenia is like, and I'm going to give you the truth, the downright truth. Let's get into it. First video.
Was it maybe something I did or said? I always tried to keep something like this from happening to me. What was it that went so terribly wrong? I always tried not to say anything weird that would arouse the slightest suspicion.
Big emotional outburst and, freaking out about whether or not you're living when you can see your hands and having these kind of, weird experiences. Definitely part of it. Wouldn't say it's necessarily, it has to be schiz. Could be totally something else. Could be she's just having an anxiety attack. So we'll continue watching and see when it gets, see what corresponds with the truth.
Could it possibly be true? Am I not supposed to have a body? Is that why all this is happening?
And that's the delusion. Right there, that's when you get to the schiz land. She went from normal, could have just been anxiety attack, to could it be that I don't need to have a body? That's schiz. When you have like big grandiose delusions that you don't need a body, or that you can run in the street because you're now some enlightened sage who can fly through cars, that's when all right, well, it's starting to breach from anxiety to maybe insanity. So that's pretty accurate. I had other ones, but that's pretty accurate.
That's right, Lane. You see, it just happens you're no longer needed in the real world.
That idea, right, and with that emotional kind of face, that I'm no longer needed, or like it'd be better off without me. That's there's underpins of some things that are not so good, which can be common in schizophrenia, but that doesn't when it comes to the more creepy way that they're like you don't need any, it's not needed anymore, as if like it definitely teeters on a couple mental health things, but it could be schiz. Wandering in the imagination, no big deal, or seeing a shadow, colorful shadow, kind of dope animation. Now, if this is her mess, uncleanliness or lack of concern for physical hygiene, that's a schizophrenia symptom. But it could be, just a messy room. Everybody's had messy rooms, or messy living rooms. I'm looking for something definitive here. That's either, super ADHD or kind of schizo. Just don't care about the old hygiene. Freaking out. It's got a little creepy, weirdness. Liminal spaces. Some people just love liminal spaces. Nothing wrong with that. That actually brings back a memory. Staring off into the distance when she was in this scene right here. Just staring off, seeing into the distance. I have a buddy who I, since 5 years old grew up with. And, all growing up, totally normal kid, totally wonderful, never experienced a problem. But when I first, got diagnosed and experienced the issue and quickly got it resolved, or at least, under in what they would call remission, where it doesn't affect me anymore. This was what I looked like staring, by the counselor's office at school and high school, just in the ether with the most wild ideas you could imagine. Now, I will say, I think this might be the definitive part. The fact that it goes from a whole scene, if she hallucinated that scene and she's really standing there and, everybody, nobody was essentially there, that's schizo. And the reason being is because when I got treated, right, when I first got the issue resolved and I was 18 years old, upon going to a treatment center, that was amazing, kind of lavish and really helped me out. When I was there, I remember sitting in the waiting room for the psychiatrist and just eyes closed, right, had a full-on hallucination scene just like that where, people, and you can be well aware that they're not, she seems to be under the impression that they aren't actually there. And so maybe they are, because it is just an anime. So you never know. But if it is skits, right, like people seem to think, then yeah, that accords, because that accords with the truth, because I had a similar thing, sitting waiting for the psychiatrist and just totally hallucinate a scene, right, beyond my eyelids. But I was fully well aware that was just part of the condition at that point, and I'm just waiting to get it resolved, essentially. But yes, that is part of it. Let's get back to the videos. I will say, this will be the next video. Just, what are my thoughts so far on the first video? We got 3 videos, 2 more coming up. If it is, if the theories online or on Reddit or whatever say she is schiz, some of it truly accords with that. Now, some of it seems true. A lot, and just, little service reminder, if you do have it, go seek medical help and go spend time with your loved ones and your family who care about you most, because they will help you. In that situation, if she is schiz, just, spending all that alone time is not good, because you need the sounding board of other sane, sensible, and smart minds. like the one who told me to make this video, to keep you going, to keep you on the straight and narrow. So let's get into the next one. So far, do I think Lain is schiz? Inconclusive. Inconclusive. We need more data. Let's get on to the data. Now, I don't know what that meant on there, but I imagine it, like on this device, but I imagine it was something scary. Feeling like everyone's, if this is an analogy when they're all like looking at her, if this is an analogy for like everyone's looking at me or your paranoia, right? Yeah, some people with schiz definitely, more so with schizophrenia than schizo-affective, or at least in my experience. But yeah, experience, paranoia that the government's out to get them or some crazy, thing like that. And for the most part, right, I didn't experience that. In fact, I was probably more carefree and less, worried about perception than I am now. So let's get into it. I wish I knew what that said. She's either like super socially anxious, super paranoid about something true, or this is a, like I guess like symbolism or something for lack of a better word, for paranoia, for like schizophrenic paranoia, because definitely accords not with my experience, but with a lot of other people, from what I hear. Aww. She's really freaking out, man. That's big sad. That was kind of creepy. Oh, legendary song. Little dance break. Yeah, but definitely, definitely that ending scene right there, where she sees like another version of herself or something that smirks. She could be hallucinating, could be, paranoia, could be super social anxiety. She could be the main character of the anime and, what's it called, have all eyes on her. But it could be, it very well, if they were trying to make it, if they were really trying to make it an analogy for schiz, that one really captivated paranoia. That's pretty, thinking that everyone's on to you and that, the government's after you and they're sending signals. I can't name names, obviously, right, out of respect and just caring about someone's dignity. And not that I'm a medical professional and I have HIPAA, but I just care about his dignity as a person. But there was someone at one of the places I went, like mental health treatment centers, that served me and got me, back to functional and normal mind. He had a paranoid delusion that the government or CIA was sending signals through his body. And actually another one, this was a different individual, had one where I went into the med room to go get my meds, right? It's evening meds. I come back out. We're all sitting, at the couches and tables just chatting before like a group conversation that was supposed to, therapize us and help us. And he told me, right, I was like, life's a stage. At this point, I was feeling fine. They just wanted to monitor me, make sure like, okay, he's stabilized, he's ready to go. And so I'm like, saying some Shakespeare quote or something, life's a stage, bunch of actors, yada yada. Or Truman brought up a Truman Show reference. And he genuinely looks at me. He gets real stern. And this is like, remind you, I'm 18 and he's like a 35, 40-year-old male. And he's like, do not say that again. I think that everyone in here is an actor trying to lie and deceive me. And so at that point, in those moments, you're just like, hey, So paranoia does, I never had something like that. I was more just, kind of delusional, or in like a extroverted, just want to, almost a little messiah complex way. But he seemed to think that, and so at that point, I just let him be. Never said anything of it, and was able to go home safe and sound. So I do wish him the best wherever he is now. But yeah, they definitely, people with schizophrenia do got delusions on average. All right, let's get back into it. One day, YouTube, thank you so much for sticking by. I will fix this, OBS situation. Welcome to the last video. We'll make the conclusion after. We'll even go full screen on this one. Oh no, we'll let it be. Okay, alone in her weird room. Bunch of gadgets and gizmos. Could be a tech expert, Nothing wrong with that. Who's there? Oh, is this what I think it is? Let's see. She's just sitting there, daydreaming or just in thought, thinking about things. It is kind of weird having that many machines, but could just be a tech expert, doing big things. Oh, the Shadow Man. The Shadow Alien Man. Yeah, buddy. Shadow Alien Man. That right there. That's Schiz. That is Schiz. She did have a schizophrenic break. That's the conclusion. Maybe she's aware of it. She seems to be like, oh, I gotta get some rest. But yeah, to give, right, I am, funny enough, a computer science major, as I've said in other videos. And I also have schizo-affective. So, very similar in some ways. But that, hallucination at the end, combined with the paranoia and it could have been social anxiety, could have been this, but definitely some paranoia on some grand level. And then just the, grandiose delusion in the beginning that, she's reacting to internal stimuli in her thoughts audibly, like she's saying, fighting against her thoughts by talking out loud. And then, from there, she thinks she doesn't need a body anymore. She just doesn't need it. She just realized it all of a sudden by someone talking. That probably wasn't. And so in that end one with the hallucination of the alien man, that is Schiz. Now those are all signs of Schiz. If I was, Dr. Charles was here, Schiz. From my experience, that's Schiz. Lain has schiz. And so, like to, I hope this sheds some light, for those, for those who don't know what it's like to have it, it's once you get it under remission, once you get peer support from your family and loved ones, and presumably if you are on a healthy routine, with a strong relationship, with a strong family life, or even just healthy habits and meds, totally can get to a point of remission and function in the world and be a happy, healthy citizen. As for Lain, she's schiz. She's also a programmer or some kind of tech person. And that was a visual hallucination. When I was 18 and I was getting diagnosed, I also had a visual hallucination of a shadow man. But he walked through and grabbed me. And as a little known fact that many don't know, you as a schiz person may know that it is a hallucination and that your mind is simply producing sensory input that isn't there. But it doesn't make it go away because it's a neurological thing. So if you see someone who has it or you think someone may have it, have compassion, have love, and support them. Because in all reality, most of the time it's genetic and, they can't help but have it. So support them in being well, in staying well, in getting well. God bless, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. This has been Schizo Reacts to Serial Experiments Lain.